Welcome to Booklove channel. Today we shall discuss about the book Unfinished Gestures. Devadasi, Memory, and Modernity in South India. The author is Devesh Soneji. The book is about the social and cultural history of Devadasi, courtesans in South India and their encounters with colonial modernity in the 19th and 20th centuries. Devadasi communities contend with severe social stigma and economic and cultural disenfranchisement. Soneji argues for the recognition of aesthetics and performance as a key form of subaltern self-presentation and self-consciousness. Unfinished Gestures charts the historical fissures that lie beneath cultural modernity in South India. Devesh Soneji, a social historian working in the field of performing arts, addressing issues of gender, class, and caste, especially in the colonial context. Teaches in the Department of South Asia Studies at the University of Pennsylvania. Co-editor of Performing Pasts, Reinventing the Arts in Modern South India. Editor of Modernity, a reader. Contents. Introduction on Historical, Social, and Aesthetic Borderlands. Chapter 1 Producing Dance in Colonial Tanjore. Chapter 2 Whatever Happened to the South Indian Nautch? Toward a Cultural History of Salon Dance in Madras. Chapter 3 Subterfuges of Respectable Citizenship, Marriage and Masculinity in the Discourse of Devadasi Reform. Chapter 4 Historical Traces and Unfinished Subjectivity, Remembering Devadasi Dance at Viralimala. Chapter 5 Performing Untenable Pasts, Aesthetics and Selfhood in Coastal Andhra Pradesh. Coda Gesturing to Devadasi Pasts in today's Chennai. Notes. Devadasi is a word that has long been misused to refer collectively to a variety of categories of temple and performing women, erroneously giving the impression of a sustained, pan-Indian tradition. Devesh Soneji adds precision to the term, detaching it from jogati, tawaif, baji, and other terms for female temple workers, performers, and courtesans. He focuses on Devadasi identities as professional artists within a sexual economy by tracing scattered and fragmentary references to temple women, court dancers, and other public women through 200 years of history. The standard received narrative concerning Devadasi in South India entails a story of women married to gods, dancing for their divine husbands inside their temples, then eventually being corrupted and becoming prostitutes who needed to be rescued from their degraded profession. In this book, Devesh Soneji reclaims the secular components of the Devadasi lifestyle and dance practices, which, though comprising the majority of their performances, had been lost due to years of denial by middle-class, upper-caste reformers. He pinpoints the consolidation of Devadasi identity to the Nayaka period, 16th and 17th centuries, and characterizes it as involving non-conjugal lifestyles as well as simultaneous investments in the temple, courtly, and public cultures, complex dance and music practices, and matrifocal kinship structures. Many women were involved with one or more of these temple dancing practices, but may not technically have been considered Devadasi if all the components were not present. In 1947, after decades of debate, the Madras Devadasi Act was passed in an effort to eradicate prostitution. It banned the dedication of women in temples as well as any dancing associated with temples. This book concerns itself with the social, civic, and aesthetic aftereffects of this ban from the perspective of the performing women themselves. Soneji has interviewed women from different Devadasi communities in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh who lived through the implementation of the 1947 Act. He also had an opportunity to witness a few dance demonstrations. He documented and recorded some of their dance practices, many of which had been virtually erased from history, as they did not fit the reconstituted religious history and the revived performance practices promoted by Brahmin women such as Rukmini Devi. This casual, often sexually explicit dance repertoire, however, is central to the identities of these women as well as to the ways that they remember the past. They are still performing, as Soneji puts it, underground, in the privacy of their own homes at night. The dance troupes have moved from public spectacle to the realm of nostalgia and memory as the women perform for themselves at private late-night parties, where they remind themselves of who they used to be and lament what they have become. Unfinished Gestures complicates received narratives by focusing not on the few Devadasi performers who were sanctioned by elites and continued to perform on Madras city stages, in films, or on gramophone recordings, but on the majority of the community members who were never integrated into modern Indian society and continue to face loss, stigma, and disenfranchisement. By speaking directly with women who lived through the reform period and recording their private performances, Soneji is able to consider the effects of both the 1947 Act and the 1956 Andhra Pradesh Amendment, which criminalized all public dancing even at marriages or private parties by hereditary dancing women, on both lifestyles and actual dance practices. Discourses of nationalism upheld marriage as the ideal for the modern Indian woman, and reformers worked in vain to integrate dancers into society by getting them married, while the dance was revived and cleaned up by respectable middle-class, mostly Brahmin women, who found Devadasi non-conjugal lifestyles and non-classical performance styles unpalatable. The memories and performances of contemporary Devadasi reveal all the places where the implementation and enforcement of the act failed. The overall failure of reform, in the eyes of these women, is mirrored by the success of the men in their communities, who benefited in terms of political and economic gain. Thank you for watching this video. Book Love recommends you to read this book. Happy reading.